Hello, and this is King here with another Raid Shadow Legends video. I'm going to be doing a unkillable clan boss team on a 2-to-1 ratio using Helicath, Warcaster, but this time Deacon Armstrong. And I'm bringing in Cruel Traxxer as the damage dealer. I'll get into that a bit more. Anyway, so the system is very simple. So Deacon Armstrong in the lead for his speed aura. He's coming in at 227 speed. You don't really need to prioritize anything here, but I do, just so nothing goes iffy with the AI. He's coming in with his feels a turn meter and his decreased defense. He's also got a leech on the A1, but so be it. Leech is sort of a wasted debuff, but could be handy if you're running a block debuff champion rather than a cleanser like doompriest, but I'll get into that again more. Warcaster, the fastest champion, coming in at 280 speed. You can drop that down to about 276, and it can go up to maybe about 283. Deacon, he's got a little bit of room, not too much. I think he's like 226 to about 234, maybe something like that. Doompriest, I'm turning off his A2. Do not need it. He's just here to cleanse all of the debuffs, and that's pretty much it. That's all she's here for. Sorry. The slowest champion at 204. A little bit of movement there. That can go up a little bit, but I think it can only go down to about 201. Cruel Traxxer here. So she's in Relentless gear. Prioritizing the A2, not that you need to. It'll work anyway. Great thing about this is that it does grant an extra turn. As you can see, I do not have her booked, so we don't expect to see a lot of damage from her. But with Relentless, granting an extra turn, 4-hitter on the A1, we should just get a lot of damage from our Giant Slayer Masteries. So it should be pretty fun running her. I've never run her in Clan Boss before. So her crit damage is a bit low, but her attack is decent. In fact, I haven't finished leveling her up. I might quickly jump in there and see if I can get 16 on her banner, which is attack. Don't need accuracy for her because Helicath brings the weaken. Don't need a debuffer because Deacon brings the defense down. He's doing it every turn. Helicath's doing it a few times every clan boss turn, so even on bad affinity they should keep defense down and weaken pretty strong. I have got Deacon also in a toxic set just so I can get some of those poisons. You can of course just run your DPS as a poison DPS as well, but I thought I would try Cruel Traxxer, see how she goes. I've also got her in a refresh accessory. Tempted to see how well that works. Then we got a Helicath coming in at 252 speed. So if you want Cruel Traxxer to work in Relentless, Helicath needs to be slower, but they can both together range from anywhere from about 251 to up till like 258 or 9, I'm assuming. Can't quite remember. So Helicath I'm turning off his A2 because it's not needed, and Warcaster I also turned off his A2. Opening with A1 on Helicath, and that'll fall into sync. Warcaster will obviously be opening up on his A3. So Helicath has enough accuracy there to land the weaken. A little bit of damage, see how it goes. Deacon's a bit low on the accuracy. I like to see it a bit higher, but it's all I could do with the toxic sets that I had. Alright, let's run the team and see how well it goes. Of course, any other damage dealer in Cruel Traxxer's spot, you'll get so much better. In fact, you can also run a block debuff champion in Cruel Traxxer's spot and a damage dealer in a doompriest spot, which will be a lot easier to get damage out at only around that 200 speed. So let's give this team a run. Full auto, don't have to touch anything, it's all set up, so happy days. So I've got Cruel Traxxer in a refresh accessory, just on the off chance I might be able to refresh that A2 and she can just get more and more and more and more turns. I'm really hoping for her to go well with her just Giant Slayer procs, because again her critical damage is quite low. Oh, I forgot to upgrade her banner. Anyway, so she could have more attack, but not to be, I suppose. Any other damage dealer in her spot would be much better, so legit choose your pickings from Phoenix to Fane to Venus to Dracomorph. Anyone. You can even put in a what's his name, Resin Scarhide, because you're going to get increased defense from Helicath, so will be pretty sweet there. Not as reliable. I'm not sure how well it will sink in, but it's there as a good option. Of course, you don't have to run Relentless, but much advisable. And if you have the damage dealer slower than Helicath, you can't run Relentless. You can put a ninja in that spot. He has to be at a very specific speed, and you cannot run Relentless with this team. But it works nevertheless. Deacon, as you can see, smacking down a lot of poisons. Helicath and Deacon also keeping the defense down. All good and all good to go. I have a feeling Cortraxa was a bad choice for a damage dealer, simply because she isn't booked and I don't have any critical damage on her. But we'll see how it turns out. Again, any other damage dealer, and this is an easy 1 key. Looking at the damage so far, I think this team's going to hit maybe 50 to 60 mil, unless Cortraxa gets a bit more good RNG, but I just don't have the stats I needed for her. I should have ran a Venus and just turned Venus's A2 off, because Venus is the DPS champion I used last time I ran this style comp. And turning off her A2 because it's unneeded, because Deacon brings defense down and Helicath brings weaken, which would have allowed Venus to put on more poisons with her A1. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. Look at that. Cortraxa, it's like 3 or 4 turns in a row. That's pretty sweet. So if you run a block debuff champion, the best would probably be Brogni, because he can get some reflex damage with his shields and whatnot. Then this team can be really good, and that's where Deacon's Leech will come in handy. Because right now his Leech is sort of a wasted buff, and you're thinking, why? It's a block damage team. Why do you need healing? Because of the first couple early turns, your champions lose a little bit of HP. So you need a little bit of heal just to get them HP up to 100%, so you can pick up that 5% extra damage mastery if your champions are full HP. That's why I love block damage team. I never really ran unkillable block damage, but then I got Helicath and I thought, hey, I'll give block damage a run. And it is fun, because you don't have to worry about the low HP with the stun targeting. Everyone's on full HP. It makes it all easy. Now, of course, you can do this team very differently, in the sense of you can have stun targets and all of that, but the only stun targeting I've tried to do here is to make sure on a magic affinity, Deacon takes a stun hit, which will allow Helicath to get a counter attack, thanks to his passive, which he counterattacks every time an ally is hit. So with my original comp, which was a Seeker instead of a Deacon Armstrong, Helicath would be the stun target against a magic affinity, which means he would lose out on those extra, what is it, like 20 odd turns? Not even that, 18 odd turns. So yeah, so that's you can also just run it like a Feign or something like that for a damage dealer to take the stun over Helicath, but it's not really that critical. That team was an easy 1 key. I think on Magic Affinity, that team was doing, after I fixed something up, I think the video I posted, it went just shy of a 1 key, and then I realized that one of my champions had a wrong item on, so I wasn't running at a good damage. I think it was Doompriest actually. She had the wrong items on. So I fixed her up, and the lowest I've hit with that team since was a 73.5. I wrote it down. Yeah, 73.5 was the lowest after I fixed up Doompriest, and the highest was an 88. So yeah, this team here, again, Cortraxa, bad choice. I just thought I'd go avoid champion, so it doesn't matter what affinity the clan boss is. And then I thought, hey, I've never used Cortraxa, and I currently don't use her. But yeah, it not quite working out. Might be worth actually just cancelling this run out and picking it up from here, maybe with a Venus instead of a Cortraxa, just so you can see the 1 key, because it's always nice when you get to see the 1 key. Yeah, I think we'll do that. We'll drop out Cortraxa just because she's not bulked, she doesn't have the damage. We'll try and bring in a Venus. Nah, it doesn't matter, I suppose, does it? It's a hard decision, really. Again, if Cortraxa was built out right just then, instead of hitting 13k per hit, she could have been doing, 30k per hit, and she just would have done almost 500,000 damage, more than 500,000 damage. She's had like 4 or 5 turns in a row. So she could be a really fun champion for this comp. Really fun, actually. Especially on a refresh accessory, because she could just go A2, A2, A1, relentless A1, back to the A2, and could be so much fun. I'm tempted just to book her out, but I don't have the books for it, and then try and build her better with a bit more damage. She could be a lot of fun. We'll see what this team does with her. Look at that. Extra turn, extra turn, extra turn. Oh my god. How many extra turns was that? Oh. Cortraxa actually could be legitimately amazing. I really need to, I need to do something with her kits so she deals a little bit more damage, but damn. Granted, that's not going to happen all the time, but with those refresh, relentless, the extra turn ability, that could be so much fun. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to drop this video. I'm just going to keep Cortraxa going. It's not going to be a 1 key. We're going to fall short 100%, but I might see if I can build her out, do another run. I might chuck a screenshot in here or something like that with her build out so you can see the damage. But wow, that's so cool. I just want to see that happen again. Come on, Cortraxa, give us your extra turns over extra turn. Oh, that is fun to watch. So yeah, this team's a pretty solid team. It'll work. It could be a very easy 1 key with a properly built damage dealer. Again, of course, you could always, So if I had a block debuff, champion, the only block debuff champion I've got is Rio Bone Spear, and I didn't really want to bring a Void Legendary in Rio Bone Spear into this comp. I was fine bringing Cortraxa in because she's not built or anything, and it's sort of the DPS slot, it doesn't really matter. But a Brogni would be great for the block debuffs. Needs to be on a 3-turn cooldown. It can't be like a Sepulchre Sentinel who has it on a 4-turn cooldown. It just won't work. It'll fall out of sync. But yeah, this team goes very solidly. Deacon in the Toxic set is, I think, a good choice because just he gets so many attacks. And his speed isn't too hard to get either. So you could have, I think doompriest is... No, I took her out of a relentless set and she's just in a bit of a damage build. At 200 speed, it's pretty easy to get some damage on a doompriest. Helicath, he's too fast to run on a good toxic set, I found, even though he gets a lot of attacks, but that could also be a bit of a downfall in case the defense down debuff drops off and then he just fills it up with toxic all the time. So that's why I thought Deacon would be a good choice because he gets a lot of attacks. He's getting like 2 solid attacks, maybe a couple counter attacks. So yeah, that's why I went with Deacon for the toxic set at 226-ish speed, I think it was. He was easy to get on toxic set as well. Everyone's at crit cap because we got the speed aura from Deacon, so no cheating. With my other team, I had Warcaster as the lead, so my Void DPS champion didn't need 100% critical rate, but this team you will do in fact need that because of Deacon's lead for the speed. And yeah, I think even on Magic Affinity you'll keep the debuffs up real easy. As I was saying before, Helicath will 100% keep weaken up, don't even have to worry about that. The only worry is probably Deacon with the defense down, and really he's doing that every single turn, and it lasts for 2 turns, so there's a good chance. And then he's also got the mastery to possibly extend that, so you might even get it for a 3rd turn, which would be pretty cool. I did forget to double check his masteries because there are some really big masteries that you cannot use on any sort of unkillable or block damage team, and I didn't double check his, but it seems like the team's going alright. We're keeping block damage up good and nothing's fallen out of sync, so it must be alright. So yeah, so as you can see, my Cortraxa is hitting like 12 to 13k per hit, which is very low because that only comes to like a 50k hit from array 1 and an 80k hit from array 2. So yeah, she definitely needs a lot more crit damage to get anything good out of her build. Yeah, it's a pretty fun team. It's a high speed and it requires a few champions. So of course Helicath can be replaced with a Thinker Roshka the Tower. Same goes for Warcaster. Yep, and I suggest keeping up with block damage rather than trying to fit in an unkillable champion. Again, block damage just helps with that full HP, 5% extra damage mastery. Deacon can be swapped out for a Seeker, and if you swap them out for a Seeker, then your speeds change. I would suggest going in and having a look at my other team. The other team was pretty easy. Again, I ran a Venus, but I had some missed gear, so it didn't show off the 1 key, but it's running a 1 key. I decided to use that team as my main team, and I dropped my 2-to-1 ratio other team, which didn't have any sort of unkillable block damage. It was a fun team, but the fight went on for quite a while. So I thought I may as well go in with the block damage as my main team. It's a quicker fight, so makes it a bit easier, less to worry about. And then with this team here, I don't know, I'm tempted to build out Kratraxa and have this as a team. That would be quite fun, actually. It'd actually make it enjoyable to watch the clan boss battles instead of just playing it and walking away. It's hoping and staring at Kratraxa going, come on, do those extra turns with your long tentacle hair. I didn't really go through many of the masteries of these champions. I know that Warcaster, Helicath, and Doompriest are all pretty well set, but I didn't check over Deacon and Kratraxa. But yeah, it's a fun team. So there's a lot of masteries with these sort of teams that you have to avoid. I actually run through those masteries. That is a very big avoid for any sort of block damage. Actually, no, any sort of speed tune team, I should say. Big regrets on any sort of speed tune teams. So there are certain masteries you just cannot use. There are some that you can use in a very rare situation, and then there are some you got to be careful of, which I think I'm actually using, like for example, Laura Steele. You've got to be very careful with it. It's a great mastery to get to the speed tunes that you need, especially for running speed gear, but you've got to be very careful because it could throw your true speed off. So say you need 256 speed, but then thanks to Laura Steele, it's actually 255.44. So you got to be real careful with that, with running speed sets and Laura Steele. But it works out. Like I said, this team here, almost everyone, if not everyone, is running Laura Steele. So it's a mastery that you can use. Just got to be careful. That's why I always like to build teams like 1 or 2 speed up from the bare minimum. Just makes it extra secure. Of course, there are calculators and all that sort of stuff, such as the Deadwood Jedi. His site is an amazing site. It's got all the calculator. It's got most of the teams. I think it's got this team as well on there. And you can always double check your speeds using utilities and items like that are around. So yeah. This team's almost coming up to its finish. It's a little bit longer than the other team, but that's, I assume, just because Kratraxa's getting a lot of extra turns. And that extra turn ability as well just really helps with that relentless chance to proc, because you're getting 2 turns every now and then. So that 18 or so %, whatever it is, it gets 2 shots to go off. So this team here, coming up, yeah, well, it looks like we should hit 60 mil. Not a 1 key, but could very, very easily be a 1 key with a proper build Kratraxa. Ooh, this team is nasty in that sense. I probably won't run this team as my main team, simply because I need Deacon for other areas. He's an amazing champion, and I don't really want to use him in my clan boss team. Venus, however, I am able to use as a DPS in my clan boss team, because running her with a bit of extra accuracy, it works fine, and her speed, which would on my other team, works great for all the other areas. So yeah, Crotraxa I don't actually use, so it would be quite nice to be able to use her in clan boss, but I don't have however many books it is, like 6 or 8 legendary books to drop on her just for clan boss when I've got a perfectly usable other champion. So yeah, Crotraxa just sits there and looks pretty because she's a void legendary. One of my early mistakes, to be honest. I got her, I think she was my second ever void legendary. Super excited, built her up. Thankfully didn't book her. She's a great champion and everything, but just very, very niche, very rarely used. Not really many areas you can use her with. So she is what she is. After this run is finished, which should be in a minute, I'll jump over to the champions and I can see the exact builds that I've got on them. You've seen the speeds, that's the main thing, really. If you actually watch the video to this far, then cheers! That's awesome! Because I pretty much gave up all the important information right at the start. So that way, if you just wanted the information, there it is, and goodbye video. But if you're still here, thanks for watching. If you like these sort of videos, please do subscribe. Seeing some more people subscribe, it makes me more inclined to make more and more videos. I've got a fair few ideas in my head, so if I can get subscribers going, then I'll get more videos going. So here we go, about 10 mil short of a 1 key. So as expected, probably a little bit better than I thought it would do with my Crotraxa build. I honestly wasn't expecting that. She still pulled out 20.7 mil. That's nasty. Deacon with 13.3 thanks to a lot of toxic, and Helicath almost 13 mil just from his pure damage. That's beautiful. Warcaster at 6.5, which is surprising considering he's only using one. So he's using one ability, his block damage ability, which doesn't actually attack, so that's pretty good. And doompriest on an 8.6, weak affinity for doompriest. He usually hits at that 10 to 11 mark. But yeah, Crotraxa, interesting. I like it. So let's go over to the builds here. So Crotraxa. So she's in the refresh accessory, a one and only. Her banner isn't fully upgraded. It's an attack banner as well. I haven't even got her attack lift, so she could bang up a lot more attack. Her critical rate is actually much higher than it needs, and I actually took a piece off to give her more attack without thinking that she needed more critical damage is what she really needed. So her A2 here needs at least one book in it. Attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of plate can weaken, blah blah blah, no one cares about that for unkillable, block damage, we got Helicath for weaken, grants an extra turn, so that could be a hell of a lot of fun on a 4-turn cooldown. Her A1 ignores 50% of enemy defense, which goes fantastic. So, and a lot of extra damage could be on her A1 there. It's 25% extra damage with 4 books. Ooh, that is tempting. She's also got to increase ally attack in all battles, but of course we can't run that because Deacon we need his speed aura. So her masteries, obviously just basic damage masteries, but this is the important mastery, Heart of Glory. Increases damage inflicted by 5% when attacking with 4 HP. So this is why you need some sort of healing just to make sure everyone heals up after those first couple turns. Now, over here in the support tree, this is the dangerous tree. Of course, there is other abilities here that can reset cooldowns in the offensive tree, but you don't do enough damage to clan boss for them to activate, such as this one here, Cycle of Violence. It predicates on exceeding 30% of the target's match HP in one ability. That's not going to happen against clan boss, so you can pretty much choose any mastery from there, but just choose what's best. But down the support tree, you've got to be real careful. So, Law of Steel. It's the one that is fantastic. I use it on almost all of my Actually, no, I think it is being used on all of my champions, just to get that speed to make it a bit easier. So you got to be careful with that. And one of the masteries you can almost never use is actually this one right here, Cycle of Magic. Has a 5% chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random skill by 1 turn at the start of every turn. I can only use this on a champion that is using Relentless Gear, because their abilities don't need to happen at a certain time. You could also use it on like the Doompriest, but I got Doompriest A2 turned off. Oh wait, I should not have had it turned off. I should have had it turned on because I'm not running Seeker. Oh wow. Oh wow, I can't believe I just realized that. I had an A2, because on my Seeker comp I have Doompriest A2 turned off because Seeker drops the increase attack. But I just realized I'm not running Seeker, so I just missed out on a ton of damage because I wasn't running increase attack. What a fool I've been. What a fool I've been. Wow. So even with Crueltrax's build, that would have been a 1 key. That's insane. And I was thinking about building her out even stronger. Wow, okay. That one doesn't affect... So this one here has a 30% chance of increasing the turn meter by 10% when a buff cast by this champion is removed or expires. And then this one here is the exact same but for debuffs. Never use these in any sort of speed-tuned clan boss team, whether it's unkillable, block damage, survivalist, infinity, no matter what. You don't want to use these. You don't want turn meter increasing or anything like that. It'll mess your rotation up drastically. So yeah, wow, I still can't get over the fact that I wasn't running increased attack. That's incredible. Okay, well, I'm in shock now. I think I'm going to end the video there. If you want to check out all the champion stats, you can either... I'll just run through them quickly, I suppose. You can find your screenshots or whatever you need. So Helicath, just under 4k defense. He ends up placing an increased defense on himself after his block damage expires. Gives him a bit more damage. So yes, this one here. Passive effect. When block damage buff placed on this champion is removed, stolen, or expires, places a 6% increased defense on that ally for 2 turns. So that's where he gets his increased defense from, to increase his damage. I can't believe the increased attack. I'm kicking myself, literally. His A1 obviously places weaken. Then his A2, which is the shield, amazing shield, but I've got it turned off because it's not needed. And his A1 does more damage, and it's also got the weaken potential. He's just running 3 speed sets. Would be great in like these sort of items. What are they called? Revenge rings. Yeah. But I think I went for stats rather than for the revenge ring and the speed tune and whatnot. So yeah, his stats just under 4k defense, crit cap, as much critical damage, and the speed tune. And the accuracy. Accuracy you want about over 230, depending on the champion. So some champions, just a quick one here. So this ability here increases accuracy by 20 when this champion has no skills on cooldown. So this can be deceptive. A lot of people pick up this mastery and then think they need more accuracy than what they do. But if you got 210 accuracy and you've got a champion that the only time you need accuracy is on the skill, on the ability that will go on cooldown, this here does not show up in your stats. So if we find a different champion, I think Crueltraxa, did she have it? She did. So she gets 10 accuracy from this one, and then she'll end up getting 16 accuracy from this one, and 20 accuracy from this one, because she only has 1 active ability. Now of course I don't need her for the weaken, but let's say for argument's sake I did. You look at in here at her total stats, go to accuracy, mastery section is only giving her a plus 10, but I'm getting plus 16 from the allies being alive, and plus 20 because this ability here would be the only one that could be on cooldown. So when I go to use it, no ability is on cooldown, so I'm getting an extra 20. So she's actually got plus 36 accuracy to her current accuracy there. so it doesn't show up in the stat sheets, but just remember that. So if you build a champion at 200 accuracy, and you're like, oh, everyone suggests I need 220 or 230, you've probably got it. You've probably got it. And that goes for any comp. So we'll just quickly hit up all their gear and their stats in case you want to see it. So Critraxa, Relentless Speed. Here are the stats. And then moving on, we got Helicath, gear, items, stats. Moving on. Who else do we have? We had Warcaster, great champion. All speed set, of course, just to hit the speed tunes, especially here. It's 280 speed. Kind of hard to hit when you want more damage. In the other team, I did run him at 200% critical damage because I could run him less critical rate and less speed. So I actually was able to put on critical damage gloves. So that was quite fun. Then we had Mr. Doompriest. Mrs. Doompriest. So she's actually in lethal and cruel just to really smack the damage, which didn't really show because she was weak affinity. And notice this, she's got an A2 that places increased attack. Whoa, who would have guessed that? If only someone would have thought to use it. Yeah. So she's just running some pretty average stats, even though she's on lethal and all that. I was just quick to mash some gear into her. 204 speed, 169 accuracy, crit cap, 3k attack. And then, was that it? I can't remember now. No, Deacon. Of course, Deacon. So he's in a toxic in a speed set. I got him all on 3 counterattack accessories, revenge accessories, just so he can really lay out those poisons thanks to the toxic set. He's on 3k attack, nothing special, 167 critical damage, and way over crit cap, 220 accuracy. Now, this is the thing again, 220 accuracy, but truly it's actually 256 because of the hidden accuracy from the masteries. And because he's only got those 2 abilities, oh no, he's got this one as well. So this will be on cooldown when he uses that, but he'll have that for this anyway. So Deacon, bad example, but yeah, 220 accuracy seems to be enough. Alright then, well, I'm going to go run that again with increased attack and see how much damage it does. I might buff up Critraxa a little bit. I so want to put books into her, but I just don't have the books for it. Alright guys, well if you like the video, please do subscribe. I'm sorry for dragging you along after I found out that I wasn't using increased attack. Yeah, have a good night, au revoir, or morning, or whatever you are.